Welcome back for episode 15 of Strange, Creepy and Mysterious Things I Found on the Internet, a series where I cover a range of unsettling internet media from YouTube videos to Reddit posts and everything in between. Let's investigate. If you enjoy internet mysteries and generally disturbing content, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can become a Ko-fi member or a channel member to gain access to uncut videos and other perks, or you can leave me a tip by clicking the thanks under this video. Thanks to anyone who considers this. This video will contain vague discussions of topics that some might find triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. You can become a Ko-fi member or a member here on YouTube to watch an uncut version of this video, which features a whole extra entry that was unsuitable for this cut. A couple of weeks ago, there was a post on the conspiracy subreddit titled, "Etsy is being used to traffic children in plain sight." Before I continue, I just want to point out that I'm not a huge fan of this subreddit. The general views of the users on it typically range from delusional to offensive. Many of the theories they discuss are either ridiculously far-fetched or have already been definitively disproven. Anyway, while I'm not sure exactly what is going on in this post, or if the OP is right in their interpretation, at first glance it does seem very strange and potentially worrying. The first image in the post shows an Etsy listing with 5 photos of a very young child, possibly around 2 or 3 years old, with the description, "children's overalls." This might not initially seem unusual at all, until you see that the price is $35,210. It's marked as a rare find, but even so, it doesn't appear to be a luxury brand, and there's no reason a children's outfit would be so expensive. I think I may have found this exact outfit, if not an almost identical one, being sold elsewhere online for around $40, so why is this one so expensive? Well, OP believes that it's not the outfit that's for sale, but the child. These screenshots also made their way onto Twitter and Facebook, with countless users fearing the same as OP, claiming that sellers on Etsy were using the site to surreptitiously traffic children. The other 2 images in the post are screenshots of 3 more listings that may be of a similar nature. The first is a clearly airbrushed photo of a young girl winking with a piece of pizza in her hands. The second is a digital image of 3 babies eating pizza, and the third is a painting of a pizza on a table, with what looks to be garlic bread on another plate and a bottle of ketchup behind it. These 3 listings are all digital downloads, so if OP is correct in their assumptions, I'm guessing that this would be more likely to be CP than an offer to actually buy a child. The first listing out of these 3 is $4,000, which is much cheaper than the other, and the second 2 are $20,461 and $19,674 respectively. Whether or not any of these listings are anything to do with child trafficking, unfortunately, this is a phenomenon that does happen in the real world, and I have no idea, nor do I particularly want to know, what the going rate for a child is, but I'd imagine that it's much higher than $4,000, so it's unlikely that this listing was actually for a child. That said, it seems like a very high price for a digital download of a photo of a child holding a piece of pizza, but there really doesn't seem to be any objective pricing system for artwork, and if a blank canvas with a simple paint splatter or something can sell for thousands of dollars, I'm sure someone somewhere would pay $4,000 for this. Around $20,000 for the next 2 images seems crazy though, and they're even less baffling than the $35,000 price for the children's outfit in the first listing. If you were living under a rock at the time a certain pizza-related conspiracy theory blew up, or in case it hasn't clicked, you might be wondering what's with all the pizza. During the 2016 US presidential election, a number of emails written by John Podesta of the Democratic Party were released by WikiLeaks. These emails contained references to pizza, and conspiracy theorists decided that the pizza references were actually code words related to an alleged trafficking ring run by the Democratic Party, who were apparently using a pizza place in Washington, D.C. as a base. Despite zero evidence to back up these wild claims, the situation came to a head when Edgar Madison Welch decided to investigate by taking an assault rifle to the pizza place and firing several shots. Thankfully, no one was injured and he was arrested, and after it became clear to most people that this was just a baseless conspiracy theory, most of the attention died down online, though there is still a small community of tinfoil hat wearers who believe this theory to be true. Some of them frequent the conspiracy subreddit, and this is one of the reasons why, as I said, I don't frequent it. Anyway, unsurprisingly, some of the commenters on this post linked these Etsy listings with this conspiracy theory I just summarised, claiming that the pizza references made it clear that these sellers were involved in trafficking and that they were using the site to sell children. All three sellers in the post can still be found on Etsy, but an identical message on each states that they are not currently selling on Etsy. While a couple of the comments on the Reddit post speculated that the sellers were banned because they actually were selling children, various news sources reported that an Etsy spokesperson stated that the claims had been investigated and there was no evidence that the listings had any connection to child trafficking, and that they had been removed for violating the company's terms of use because the prices were overly inflated and the items did not appear to be legitimate. So the most likely explanation, in my opinion, is that the listings were a scam and the sellers were probably hoping that someone would be gullible enough to believe that they actually were selling children, so would pay thousands of dollars and the seller would just send them the outfit or the digital download of the images shown in the listings. It's not like the buyer could actually complain if they paid $35,000 and just received the outfits shown in the listing. It wouldn't be false advertising. A couple of the more rational comments on the post alternatively suggested that the items were initially priced much lower, and when they went out of stock, the seller increased the price to a ridiculous amount that no one would actually pay, so they didn't have to delete the listing and could just reduce the price again when the item was back in stock. Apparently this isn't unheard of. I can't confirm because I've never purchased anything from Etsy and I'm quite unfamiliar with the site, but I guess it does sound plausible. Either way, I highly doubt anyone is trying to sell children on Etsy, and this seems to be a 2023 version of the Wayfair conspiracy, which was equally ridiculous and untrue. On the 3rd of September 2009, a YouTube channel was created with the name Michael Jackson 804. That same day, it uploaded a video titled Michael Jackson Sexy Lady. The description simply read, New Song 2009. The song begins with the lyrics, I want you to be my sexy lady, I want you. And this is the chorus that is repeated throughout the song. MJ was known as the king of pop, though he did experiment with various genres. That said, the style of the song is a little different to the type of music MJ was known for. It sounds kinda reggae, I think, but I'm not good with identifying genres, so correct me if I'm wrong. Still, the voice sounds like MJ, so if you're not a die-hard fan, you'd just assume this was one of his lesser-known songs that never charted. MJ died 2 months prior to this video being uploaded, a fact that alone doesn't make this upload too strange, considering a number of his previously unreleased songs were released posthumously, including This Is It, Escape, and Slave to the Rhythm. According to his close partners Bill Bottrell and Bruce Swedian, only a small percentage of his full catalogue has ever been released, and they estimated he had recorded at least 1,000 to 2,000 songs between 1974 and 2009, the year he died. Several unreleased songs have been leaked online, including a 24-second clip of A Place With No Name, which emerged just 3 weeks after MJ's death, long before it officially appeared in his second posthumous album in 2014. Among the hundreds, potentially thousands of unreleased songs, there were various songs he recorded solo, plus songs he recorded with his brothers when they were in the band Jackson 5, as well as collaborations with well-known names such as Freddie Mercury, Stevie Wonder, Barry Gibb, Prince, and will.i.am. So at face value, Sexy Lady seems to be one of these many unreleased songs that for one reason or another hasn't made it onto any of the posthumous albums yet. But the problem with this assumption is that there appeared to be no record of this song anywhere else on the internet prior to this one YouTube video with 26,000 views, uploaded by a channel that was created on the same day and has since only gained 49 subscribers. Searching the lyrics brings up nothing either, so it's not like the channel just got the name wrong. A few other accounts have re-uploaded the song since, but the MJ804 account was the first, and at the time there wasn't even so much as a mention of it on any other website, including a Wikipedia page which lists nearly 100 of MJ's unreleased tracks. So where on earth did MJ804 even find this? The only other video on the channel was uploaded just over 3 months after Sexy Lady, simply titled Michael Jackson, with the description King of Pop. It features a slideshow of photos of MJ to Mariah Carey's cover of I Want to Know What Love Is. There is one playlist comprised of 7 other videos uploaded by other users, 4 of which are MJ related, the others are the songs All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, I Know You Want Me by Pitbull, and Number One by Tinchy Stryder featuring N-Dubs. All these videos were uploaded prior to the creation of the MJ804 account, so it's unlikely that it's been active since then. There's no public email in the About section, so no way of finding out for sure who is behind this account or how they obtained this obscure song. There is no music video for the track, as with the only other video uploaded by this user is just a slideshow of photos of MJ. The thumbnail is bizarre though. It's a photo of a baby, definitely not MJ, which appears to have been a photo published by OK Magazine. The text over the image reads, "Exclusive, never before seen photos of Michael Jackson. Strictly for usage in OK Magazine in the UK and US, only for the agreed period and for the agreed fee." Then some city names, including London and New York, with numbers, letters and characters. Looks like MJ804 just copied some text from somewhere without even removing the formatting codes and pasted it over the image. Why, I have no idea. This image with the text appears in the video too, and also a different image of a young girl with the same text pasted over. The rest of the images are all of MJ, so it's really strange that these 2 random unrelated photos appear in the middle with no explanation, and one is used for the thumbnail. There's a Portuguese blog titled Mulher Looks Her that was created shortly after MJ's death and appears to centre around the conspiracy theory that MJ is still alive. In a post from the 14th of December 2010, the author references 3 MJ songs: Serious Effect, She Got It, and Sexy Lady. Despite being a huge MJ fan, they stated that they never knew these songs existed, but didn't doubt that they were legit tracks, theorising that they had somehow been leaked to the public. It transpired that Serious Effect and She Got It were both leaked on the 5th of December 2007, but there's no information to suggest the same is true for Sexy Lady. A commenter by the name of Nadia stated that they had joined LimeWire as soon as MJ died and downloaded all 3 songs, including Sexy Lady. She linked 2 pages on a now defunct site with the lyrics in English and Portuguese, but these were only for the other 2 songs and not Sexy Lady. There are a few other comments on the original video, also stating that the song was on LimeWire, so it seems likely that MJ804 may have found it on that site, then shared it to YouTube. In November 2022, there was a post on What's That Song, a website where you can request help identifying a song, that linked the YouTube video of the song, but also shared a short clip of a slightly different version, stating they'd found it in someone else's collection of unidentified songs posted on a dance music forum without specifying which forum. The lyrics are the same, but the vocals sound higher pitched, and there's a slightly more complex beat to the music. This adds to the mystery of the song because now we have two different versions of the same song, and no idea which was the original, let alone where either version came from. In the comments on MJ804's video, a few users shared a link to another video that includes the full second version of the song. The 1 hour 15-minute video is titled Frequencia Maxima Volume 18 CD Completer, and Sexy Lady begins after around 45 minutes. Frequencia Maxima is a group of Brazilian DJs, the main two being known as DJ Moreno and Braulio, who formed the team in 1998. The CDs are described as a compilation of the most played and most requested songs at their parties, so it seems unlikely that they actually released the song in the first place. Perhaps they also found it on LimeWire years ago. According to one of the comments, this CD, Volume 18, was originally released between 2002 and 2003. If that's true, Sexy Lady is much older than was initially assumed. Unfortunately, this doesn't really bring us any closer to finding out where either version of the song came from. It's not even like Frequencia Maxima remixed the original, they simply compiled a bunch of songs that already existed. I wasn't able to find a track list for this CD, so it's not clear if the group were also under the impression that this song was by Michael Jackson, or that it was titled Sexy Lady. A few users in the comments of both videos claim to have contacted DJ Moreno, who claimed to have no recollection of the song or where he found it. Hardly surprising considering the CD was apparently released around 20 years ago, and throughout his career he has released 50 CDs with nearly 2,000 songs in total. Apparently at the time, his selection of CDs comprised of songs from various collections and they didn't all have a name. At this point, it's looking less and less likely that the song actually was produced by Michael Jackson. It's not impossible, considering it's estimated that he had well over 1,000 unreleased tracks, and Sexy Lady wouldn't be the only one to be leaked, but it just seems far too obscure to have been produced by one of the most well-known singers of all time. The emergence of this song would be much less mysterious in 2023. These days we'd all just assume it was an AI-generated song and move on, but this was way before that technology was available, so where did it come from? The user who uploaded Frequencia Maxima Volume 18 believes the song was produced by an unnamed Euro dance group from the late 90s, but this seemed to be an educated guess as he followed the comment up with, "Any information about this track is welcome." Another comment on the MJ804 video stated that a DJ who had contact with the creator of Frequencia Maxima said Sexy Lady is a song by Prince for his 1982 album titled 1999. While I guess Prince sounds familiar enough to MJ that it's not beyond the realm of possibility that someone not too familiar with either of them could mix them up, no such song appears on that album, and this commenter later left an edit stating that they also heard through two of DJ Moreno's DJ friends that he does not remember anything about the song, so this appears to be another dead end. I think it's much more likely that the song was produced by a singer who is almost unheard of, rather than a popular artist like Prince. Either they just happened to sound like MJ, or perhaps they're even an impersonator who wrote their own songs in the style of MJ. The vocals aren't crystal clear, and they kinda sound like they could have been edited to sound slightly different, so maybe the true original version doesn't even sound that much like MJ. Wherever this song came from originally, it was likely posted on LimeWire by someone who either thought it was MJ who sung it, or knew it wasn't but decided to pass it off as him. It's also possible that the song is some kind of remix, possibly made by merging vocals from various different MJ songs to create an entirely new track, though I imagine that would be very difficult and time-consuming. I honestly have no idea at this point. This mystery is objectively relatively mundane, but for some reason it's driving me mad. It doesn't help that I now have the song stuck in my head as well. 2002 marked the beginning of a video series known as Bumfights, with the first video being titled Bumfights Volume 1 – A Cause for Concern. Within 2 months of its release, 250,000 copies had reportedly been sold at $22 each, so it was a relatively popular series, however also highly controversial. It was produced by Ryan McPherson, Zachary Bubeck, Daniel J. Tanner, and Michael Slyman, operating as Indecline Films. Indecline as a general collective is a decentralized group of people with members in several US states and some foreign countries, and in addition to Bumfights, they have been responsible for various other projects, including the largest piece of illegal graffiti in the world, which was painted on a disused military runway in the Mojave Desert. And in 2016, they also glued life-size nude statues of Donald Trump to the pavement in Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, Cleveland, and Seattle. While some of their work could be classed as activism, as they have pulled various stunts to protest racism and police brutality, the general consensus surrounding Bumfights is that it was a cruel and exploitative cash grab. The series was somewhat comparable to Jackass and featured people attempting amateur stunts and doing supposedly funny things such as bashing their heads into solid objects, ripping out their teeth with pliers, defecating in the street, and getting Bumfights tattoos. However, the participants weren't the producers who had volunteered off their own backs. They were homeless people who had been paid just a few dollars to perform dangerous activities and even fight with each other. There was one segment featuring what was called the Bum Hunter, who went onto the streets looking for homeless men, duct taping their mouths shut, tying them up with cable ties, and sometimes even physically assaulting them. One clip from Volume 1 showed a man downing a bottle of alcohol before stumbling around outside, falling over multiple times. The final time he fell into gravel outside, face planted, and the next scene showed his face pouring with blood. No one tried to help him, they just filmed and seemingly waited for him to injure himself. Many of the men were clearly mentally ill, disabled, or addicted to drugs or alcohol, and all were obviously vulnerable, in desperate situations that encouraged them to put themselves at risk for a few dollars. Rufus Hanna, a homeless activist who was homeless himself at the time of his appearances in Bumfights, performed various stunts such as riding a shopping cart down a flight of stairs and ramming his head into steel doors so hard that he had seizures. After a lawsuit was filed against the producers by 3 of the homeless men who had featured in Bumfights, they paid the men around $300,000 and in 2006 surrendered the rights to produce any more Bumfights videos or distribute any videos already made. By this time, the business had already been sold to 2 Las Vegas businessmen, Ty Beeson and Ray Letitia, for $1.5 million. Ty Beeson actually appeared on an episode of Dr. Phil, and let me preface this by saying I think the concept of Bumfights is abhorrent, and I do not support anyone involved in the production in any way, but, in my opinion, this was one of the most iconic TV moments ever. Of course, Dr. Phil's plan was to invite Ty on the show to berate him, but what no one expected was Ty to show up dressed exactly like Dr. Phil. The same suit, even the same hairstyle and a mustache. After Dr. Phil stopped the introduction tape halfway through and told Ty he didn't want to talk to him, Ty pointed out the hypocrisy of Dr. Phil claiming that Ty exploits people, and yet that's exactly what Dr. Phil does on his show, albeit in a different way. Ty was then removed from the stage, though I have a feeling he achieved his only goal of humiliating Dr. Phil. Anyway, one event related to the Bumfights producers that isn't as well known involved Ryan McPherson and Daniel Tanner. In 2014, during a visit to Bangkok in Thailand, the pair were arrested after being accused of attempting to smuggle body parts back to America. 3 parcels labelled as toys, but actually containing a baby's head, a sliced up baby's foot, an adult heart with a stab wound, and a tattooed piece of skin were found at a shipping office in Bangkok and linked to Ryan and Daniel. They apparently told police that they had bought the body parts from a night market and planned to send them back to America to prank some friends. However, after the Siriraj Hospital's medical museum reported several items missing, and CCTV footage later emerged of Ryan and Daniel entering the museum and leaving with large backpacks, it became pretty clear that they'd actually stolen them from the museum. By the time police learned this, they had already released the pair, who immediately fled the country to Cambodia. I couldn't find any solid information on how this case concluded, however I'm guessing the pair didn't face jail time, as Ryan posted a video online the year after. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments, plus any suggestions you might have for a future episode. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Huge thank you to my Ko-fi members and channel members whose names are on screen now. I really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week in a new video.